Welcome, Mr. Sadish Marade.
Namaste.
So, you are in the board of directors of the Reserve Bank of India
Yes.
consecutively for the second time.
Yes.
So, being the regulator and supervisor of the Indian financial system, the apex body of the Government of India, how do you see the present economic situation of the country?
See, the economic scenario remains robust. There has been some fall in GDP growth that has been reported in the last quarter. But I think there were several reasons for it. That shouldn't really worry us, I feel, because that was an year of election and many actions did get deferred for a few months. Similarly, the pace of capital investment, which is very robust in our for the past few years, had also slowed down. And these renewed tensions in the Middle East has also taken a little toll on it. The world economy is not growing.
Not growing.
Not growing. In fact, it is in the region of GDP, or the growth rate could be in the region of around 2.25% at the most. Though it had come out of all COVID pandemic, but last year after the war in Gaza, then the tensions in Red Sea area, that has again disrupted. So that had had its impact worldwide, yes, everywhere. And since the crude prices remained a little low, but now they have been substantially increasing in the last few weeks, that all has affected us. But these are external factors. India's growth story is primarily on India itself. We are not, I would not say that we are not connected with the external world, but then growth story is imbibed in India's growth story itself. So we should bounce back. And then there are very many factors I feel are really supporting what I say. The capacity utilization in our large manufacturing sector continues to be around 70% plus. Then our projections for Kharif and Rabi have been very positive, and there's no shortage of any food grains or any serious shortages. Third point is rains have been good. In fact, in some places it has been more than what was expected. But then on the whole, the major water bodies still have a substantial water reserve which will take us through right up to June. It shouldn't be. So all these are very positive factors. And we had a very busy festival season. It's still not over. Generally, I believe it should end by January end, but it's still on. Tourist traffic is at highest. Both railway bookings and our air bookings are skyrocketing. So things are on the move. It's not that things are bad, but it will. I believe when we get the results of the third quarter, it will perhaps give us a clearer signal. But then we expect the third quarter.
So you said that the international economy is not growing as to the expectations.
It has slowed down.
Slowed down. And our economy was also, see, our projection last GDP was, I think it must be around 6.5 to 8. But our GDP also was...
Yes, but I mentioned those factors have been have more impacted our economy. Not external factors, yes, they did impact. But then I don't believe we will have a very lasting effect of what is happening in the world.
Yeah. Sir,
See,
in that,
for example, I'll share one figure also. During the first 9 months of the current year,
yeah,
April to December, there were some 265 plus public issues
in India.
on the Indian stock
Indian
markets,
stock.
NSE and BSE, and the total amount realized, mobilized was 1,66,000 crores. Now, no industry would raise funds if they feel that the economy is not doing well or things are not happening. So that should be a cause of concern.
So, but during the last 10 credit policies which were announced by the Reserve Bank, I think RBI, there was no change in our interest rate. How is this going to affect our...
So interest rates have not been reduced as they were reduced in some other countries because we have not been able to tame our consumer price index.
Yeah.
Inflation has not been really tamed as now there are two views. There is a view that interest rates and CPI have no relation. That's one view.
Yes.
The other view is no flow of credit or flow of funds does impact inflation is the other view. And we have managed our inflation, brought it well under control. But then there are certain items, particularly mainly 8 or 10 items, which adversely affect our, for example, tomatoes, onion,
Yeah.
and potatoes. They continue to be a very dominant factor. And last month, the prices of potatoes increased by about 90%. So if potato, what is happening is that certain items make a big impact on our, without these food items, the inflation rate is less than 3.40%.
Yeah.
So taming inflation remains a fundamental thing.
So
in the long
without
run.
these items means, which you told that 10 items.
8 or 10
8 or 10
items,
items.
major
Yeah,
food
major
item.
food items,
See,
yeah.
edible oils are there in it,
Yeah.
vegetables are there in it, some dairy products are in it. So it's a basket basically of food items where the prices have been high.
Yeah.
But vegetable prices have come down, but not tomatoes, onions and potatoes. So left to me, I have suggested in my meetings with the concerned authorities, now it is high time they announce an agro export import policy.
Yes.
That is what we should allow in advance. Then the market would also take a signal. I remember about 4 or 5 years back, we had a bumper potato
Production.
production in
Cultivation.
West Bengal. And in some other state it was relatively less. For example, Uttar Pradesh it was less. And then the government in Bengal said no, we will not allow movement of
Potatoes,
potatoes
outside.
outside the state. And the prices suddenly shot up. Incidentally, at that time I was with the Union Agriculture Minister when a journalist came to him for his reaction. I had come for a different work, I had nothing to do with that. But when I met him, but I said, you finish. He was, the journalist said, I want quickly. So I said, I'll wait, आप complete कीजिए. Remember our Radha Mohan Singh ji, he was the agriculture minister. He says, if there's shortage, we'll import potatoes. He simply said this. And that news got carried across the media. And believe me, in next 8 to 10 days, the prices stabilized. The ban on movement of potatoes got relaxed and the prices came down. Radha Mohan Singh ji never imported potatoes. But he said, if necessary, I will import potatoes. Now, that is the situation. if we are not able to meet our demand requirements, then we should import. What's harm? We are importing so many things, and these are the things which are needed by the common man. And who is making profiteering out of it? Is the farmers are not benefiting. It is the middleman who pockets the huge increase in the prices every time. So if we have to protect the interests, we should have an export-import policy for agricultural produce, which
So don't we have an export-import policy for agriculture presently?
not for products which go to affect our
Day-to-day needs.
no, which affects our computation of consumer price index.
Uh-huh.
So it's not happening.
We have a
Edible oil we import.
We
Edible
import.
oil we import. But other than, we are not importing onions, potatoes, such items. We are not doing that.
Yeah.
So we need to do that.
So in this present situation, is it justifiable that our credit policies, that we can continue with the same interest rate, or should there be a...
See, it would not be proper on my part to comment because next MPC is round the corner.
Yeah.
So it would not be, it's for the MPC. The Reserve Bank is already in the process of detailed consultation in this regard. So I believe they will keep. But interest rates reducing or increasing, it's not going to substantially make impact on the investment decisions of the corporates or for others. Ultimately, they will look whether what they are going to undertake an activity, is it going to be profitable? It will be okay. So interest rates, yes, it's a signal that we are doing it, but I will not be able to more than this say anything on that.
So this, considered with this dollar, the rupee, that rate is slowly going down for the last few months. So if it goes below 90, now it is 88 something, then will that affect our
See,
trade and
worldwide, all currencies are getting depreciated against dollar. It's not India. It's the India impact on Indian rupee has been minimal as compared to others. So it's a universal phenomenon. So depreciation of rupee is a cause of concern, true, but it's universal, so it will not only be affecting India.
Yeah.
That's the point we should make, we should note. The another point on this rupee is, ex-governor Raghuram Rajan said we are still overvalued.
Yeah.
It should further depreciate. That's what he was saying. That is his view. But then these things, see, unless we are able to control our imports on three fronts mainly, they continue to be the same old: crude, electronic items, and gold.
Yeah.
There is no chance of avoiding depreciation impact on Indian rupee till we are able to control on these issues. That is very relevant. And if things really work out the way President Trump said, that he'll go in for massive exploration of oil in US, then the international prices are bound to fall. If they
Oil prices.
oil prices,
And that will affect the whole
that
world.
that will be beneficial to everybody. It will help us definitely. Outflow of foreign exchange will get reduced.
Yeah.
It will make a positive impact on the inflation also. And overall cost of production also will come down with all that. We should keep our fingers crossed as to how the OPEC and others respond to his suggestion.
So how is this new change of guard in US? More than this, how the new events in US, how it's going to affect our Indian?
It's still not clear.
Not clear.
For as far as India is concerned, we'll have to wait and see.
So regarding this cooperative sector, a lot of new issues are coming up day by day. See, there are multi-level, multi-state functioning cooperative societies. They give more interest to the deposits, and they can wash more money from the same market where the ordinary societies are there, who are there in the field for last 10 to 5 to 7
See, it's a very
decades.
small number, multi-state.
But this, they are growing the number.
Not all are growing. Multi-state co-op and the central registrar had appointed a committee of an ex-professor from NIBM, Professor Saha.
Yeah.
And they also consulted the NAFCUB. NAFCUB has 2 board members representing the credit cooperative societies on their board.
Yeah.
So they were also consulted, and they have now come out with a format for prudential regulation of all multi-state cooperative societies. So what happened in the past will not happen now.
Yeah.
And they are closely being monitored also.
How monitoring in the sense?
See, they have restricted per party exposure on giving advances. They have given guidelines for maintaining cash reserve ratio. Not the cash per se, but cash reserve ratio. They have given guidelines for investments, just as a bank does investment in statutory liquidity ratio, as we call in banks. Likewise, credit societies also now have been given directions for investment. Per party exposure for investments also have been given vis-a-vis their own state and the entity that is accepting the investment. So a regime of prudential regulation has been put in place as far as multi-state cooperatives are now concerned.
So I think there's a new cooperative policy proposed by the, it is on the, before the central government. Will there be any good suggestions, or will it be implemented very soon?
See, honestly, if you ask me, I was expecting it to be announced in the first 100 days of the new government, when the new Modi government took over. Somehow it has not been seen the light of the day.
Yeah.
This the committee headed by Suresh Prabhu. I was a part of the committee, and in fact I was a part of the drafting committee also, the final report. We have submitted the report to the government.
Yeah.
Now it is the government which is in within itself discussing the report, and they are also seeking comments from other entities. Maybe it is the government and others. But that should come sooner than later.
They have, I think they have proposed a university for cooperative sector.
Yeah.
So what is the main intention of having such a university?
See, we have 8 lakh plus cooperative societies in the country, and we are the largest cooperative movement in the world. Out of these 8 lakhs, about 4.5 lakh societies are directly engaged in some form or the other economic activity. It may be a primary agricultural society, it may be a primary milk society, a weavers society, all those included. I am not talking only of banks and now these are undertake economic activities, and there is inadequate human resources in this sector. We need to build on these issues. Similarly, we need to undertake research in the area of cooperation. New forms of cooperatives are necessary in the current state. New regulations are also necessary in the current state. See, with the dawn of era of technology, cooperatives will have to induct technology use technology in its operations. Now that is going to be a capital intensive activity. So new instruments, new avenues for raising capital are necessary. That is also what we have said in the report.
Proposal. Yeah.
Project we have said. It's a detailed report,
Yeah.
and we have made many. Fundamentally, what we have said is the cooperative laws across the country should be in conformity with three or four major items. Number one, it should not be it should not be inconsistent with the cooperative principles. Second, what we have said is that the 97 Constitution Amendment has said right to form a cooperative is now a fundamental right.
Yes.
So in any way, that right to form a cooperative should not be infringed by administrative actions or anything. The third we have said is that these acts should be such that they give a level playing field, autonomy as far as functioning of the. So these are some of the points which we have said. And finally we have said that the 97 Constitution Amendment also amended, in fact added a portion to the directive principles. Now directive principles are not enforceable, everybody knows. But then that they give a direction to a government, whether it is state or central. And that direction is the state should promote autonomous, professionally managed cooperatives. So any law that you prepare or any guidelines, circulars, directions should not be inconsistent with these fundamental issues. That is what we have said in it. If that is taken care of, I believe cooperatives will prosper very fast. There is always a complaint. I'll just add one more point to that. That we should, the cooperative, in any meeting if you go on some, they would say we should attract the youth to the cooperative sector. Once they asked me, why is the youth not coming, not getting attracted to them? I said, why should he come? If there is no level playing field, he will not come. There are so many other avenues available for him to get engaged, whether it could be startup, it could be a limited company, it could be a proper LLC and all those things. So why should he come? So if we want the youth of this country also to be substantially involved in this process, which is very necessary according to me, then laws will have to undergo a change.
So will there be any such amendments or something which...
See, the Central Act, multi-state purpose, has done substantially on that. There are certain more issues that need to be handled over there. For example, the cooperative sector faces huge difficulties in if they have to recover something from anybody.
debt recovery is one
Recovery
of the major
process is a major constraint.
problem for them.
Then the other constraint is raising capital.
Yeah.
There are limits. For example, in Delhi, you will be surprised. The Delhi State Cooperative Act said that nobody can invest more than 20,000 rupees in a society as shareholder. 20,000 is nothing. So they have they are in the process of changing it now, increasing it. But then raising capital is an issue. Technology induction is a big issue. So these issues we have suggested how to get addressed.
See, this mushrooming of multi-cooperative society, I don't know how far it is correct. Most of the cooperative sector people who are involved in cooperative sector, they say that this mushrooming of this multi-cooperative society is a big problem for them. Have you addressed that issue?
There is no mushrooming growth. Central Registrar, if you see the record for last 5 years, not 1 year, They are not approving even a single credit new society. Not one society has been approved by them. So there is no mushroom. And a tighter regulation has now come. So the general fear is it happened in the past. It did happen. Today it's no more a question.
Again, so this digital currency, when there are a lot of cyber crimes, how are we going to address this? There is a...
No, our central bank digital currency, which was launched, initially it was launched for wholesale transactions. We did well in it. Thereafter, it was adopted by a few private and public sector banks. And today we have something like 10 lakh digital currency accounts. But 10 lakhs is a small figure for our country. What they are doing, what Reserve Bank is doing is adding all the features that a regular bank account has. Now, they are working on it that it should have link to NPCI, UPI and all those things. Once it is launched, after due scrutiny, they will go in for a big way.
So this foreign borrowers are there, various institutions and businessmen. So once they go for foreign borrowing, when our rupee falls, the amount that they have to repay, the volume increases. So some of them will be seriously affected.
Yes, but generally there are clauses to keep themselves secure from such high volatility. Generally, in any external borrowing, that happens. So, some people, yes, when the price falls for dollar against dollar, it increases, I would say, then they will have some problem, but they'll manage.
Yeah. So you said that during the last 9 months, there were around 1,65,000 crores were raised from Indian
in the
market,
capital market.
Capital market.
Yes.
At the same time, these FTIs, they are leaving from our market also.
See, in all foreign funds, all foreign entities, they go wherever they see the profit. It's always the case. I'll share an example of my old days when I was in a nationalized bank and part of consortium advances. Foreign banks were fair weathercocks even in those days. If they see a slight disturbance, they would say, no, our central office, head office has advised to reduce exposure. Means we want to withdraw. So we are not dependent on foreign funds. Yes, it helps us. It is necessary that they come in a big way. But then as a country, as a system, we are quite strong. FPIs have withdrawn. 15-20 years back, it would have been a big shock. Today, domestic institutions are filling the gap. Retail investors are entering in a big way. So it has not affected us.
So it was in 1969 that more than, I think, around 14 banks were nationalized. After that, recently, central government decided to merge many of the nationalized banks
within themselves.
So, is there a shift in...
I'll request you, I don't have a copy just now with me. There is a report by the ex-governor. He was not the governor of Reserve Bank at that time, Dr. Raghuram Rajan. Before he became the governor, the central government had appointed him and empowered him to submit a detailed report on the Indian banking system. In that report, it is mentioned that for a country of our size, we need a few varieties of banks. See, we have not only we invite others to come and invest in India and start industry. Indians also go abroad,
Yeah.
invest in other countries and start their industries. So looking to that point, it was mentioned at that time we need four or five very large banks.
Yeah.
Of not necessarily they will be of all equal size or something, but large banks who can internationally support our entrepreneurs, industries also. Then it was also said we need national level banks. Then it was said regional banks and then local banks. And the final part of it was small finance bank and payments bank. Now that is all in that report. This merger combination is because of advantages of scales of integration.
So that was a positive effect on it.
It's a positive. Efficiencies have improved. I was in Bank of India.
Yeah.
And their Union Bank is also one of the leading banks. They have their office. Both Bank of India and Union Bank had offices at a stone throw from each other in Fort area. In the old days, we used to have a large number of staff to carry out the same operations. Today we don't need that. And both had 40,000 square feet area in prime locality, both Union and they could easily merge and they could function without. Now, of course, Union Bank and Bank of India are independent, they have not merged, that is a different thing. But at that time, at many times the talk used to be there that they would merge and all. They have not merged, some others have merged. But there is scope for improving efficiency, there is scope for optimizing cost, and those advantages we are getting now.
All the banks are performing well.
Yes, yes. The entire Indian banking sector is doing well.
Well.
And growth rates have been very positive, both in deposits and advances. In fact, credit has been more than the deposit mobilization. Provisioning coverage ratio is at an all-time high, hovering between 75 and 80% in some cases. But PCR is one of the highest in our country today. Likewise, capital adequacy is also very comfortable, around 16 to 17%. It differs from bank to bank,
Yes.
but on the whole 16 to 17%. And gross and net NPAs are very low. Gross NPAs are less than 2% and net NPAs are less than 1%. Many banks less than 0.5%. So these are all indications of banking being strong. And the reforms that we have carried out in the banking sector is helping us. We are more prepared to face an unexpected risk today than we were a few years back.
So most of the nationalized bank, they also started tie-ups with some other agencies, and they have started this health insurance schemes.
See, this, I'll tell you, there is an old story for that. Penetration of insurance within the country is very low.
Yeah.
Both for life and the general insurance. Now, if we have to reach out to a large number, then only depending on the agency system that we had for promotion of these insurance policies will not work. That is what was a conclusion. And then they said that public institutions should promote, so they can take agencies. Some of them can float jointly an insurance company or take a stake in an insurance company. The whole idea is the life insurance penetration is very low. General insurance is a little more than the life insurance. So that's why to deepen the insurance process in our country is beneficial in the larger context for the public good. So that's why they have undertaken. They on their own didn't start that. It was they were nudged to do it and then they did it. Now it's a major non-interest income it comes from such activities, whether it is mutual funds, whether it is insurance, whether it is general or life, whatever it is. Now the wealth management services also they provide. So all these are activities which generate non-interest income to the banks. That's why they are doing it.
So do Reserve Bank have any facts and figures regarding how many people in India are being, they come under this having an account holder of a bank? Do we have any figures like that? Out of our population, we say this much percentage of people have a bank account. Can we say like that? Do we have a figure like that?
See, we will have a figure, there is no issue. Deposit Insurance Corporation will easily give us that report.
Yes.
The report will give us. The issue is not of how many accounts. There, for example, many people in cities and some well-to-do people have multiple accounts.
Yes.
So that should be borne in mind while deciding the number of accounts. But one thing safely, my personal assessment is, even today, even after Jandan, which has mobilized 55 crore these bank accounts, even today there are must be about 40 crores people who are not part of the organized official financial
System.
system.
40 crores.
That's what I feel.
So do we have any policy or something so that
Yes. We have a consistent policy for financial inclusion, and every bank does take effort to include as many new customers or as many new people in the formal banking system. SHGs, for example, joint liability groups, are one of the most popular routes which is now being followed for financial inclusion. Likewise, we have microfinance companies. They give loans basically to people with very small means or very limited means, and then they are part of organized financial system gradually. So effort is underway, but it's a daunting task. It's not easy. And for example, when the Maharashtra government announced the Ladki Bahin Yojana, saying that giving 1500 rupees to all the women in the state, the banks were overwhelmed. They couldn't handle normal activity in those initial days. Now it has subsided, but then 5 or 6 crore new accounts were opened suddenly. Now many of them could be duplicate. They may be having accounts somewhere else. We may not know, but then we have a large number of people who are still not having bank accounts, primary bank accounts also.
You said about that Maharashtra incident.
Ladki Bahin.
Ladki. Now, many of the state governments, when it comes to a election process, all the parties in power and in opposition, they fight each other to put up a better show before the public. That means they say we are giving a monthly pension of 2,000, 3,000. Is this amount reproductive? Can a state go on like this?
See, I'll tell you, there are two views again. One is, this is Revdi, as is popularly being called, doles in a way. The other point is that these are the people who are really have limited purchasing power. They have needs, but they have limited purchasing power. So if they spend, it is going to boost the economy, is the other view it is being taken. But I feel that it's not enough to give monies in this fashion. We need to empower our people to make a living for themselves by skill development, by ensuring that accessibility to credit, preparing groups where they can undertake small and big some activity which will generate income. That also should be simultaneously needs to be done. This national skill development effort at the national level is really commendable. If you have seen the records, see for example, this financial inclusion, incidentally I have that. Jandhan accounts we opened about 51 crores.
General account.
Jandhan accounts.
Jandhan account.
And presently deposits are about 2.5 lakh crores.
In this account?
Jandhan.
Yeah, Jandhan.
Jandhan.
Oh.
Then, see, other, this skill development and training was given to about 1 crore 30 lakh youth. And 24 lakh youth got employment.
Oh.
That is one of the figures.
Yes, yes.
It's an official figure that I am quoting. Similarly, the unemployment rate, after all, because the economy has been doing well, is around 6.5% today. So things are better, and financial inclusion is an indication. Even the registration under FPO, EPO, this FPO, not FPO, EPO,
EPO.
employment has increased by 55%, and they're all new accounts. So these are indications that things are on the move.
As a body who is known for regulating and supervising the banking system, have RBI ever cautioned the governments, I mean even states and the central government, for doing this practice of paying?
No. See, RBI state of finances, it has come out only last week.
Yeah.
That report is there. And what they don't advise anybody. They bring out the facts, analyze the facts and bring it to the notice of the government. It is for the concerned leadership of the state to take a view of it. If we spend more and less on investments in infrastructure or in creating better facilities, eventually we will be in trouble. Some of these states have been spending too much. They are in difficulties. But then they are not keen on creating new assets.
Which are the states mainly?
5-6 states are there. Punjab was being mentioned once.
That was mentioned in the report, I think.
Punjab was there, Telangana was there. Then to some extent, Jharkhand ke bare mein bhi tha. Jharkhand was also. 5 or 6 states were there. In the long run, it's for the political leadership also to...
Yeah, they have to take the role. So recently, I think Reserve Bank has given sanction for something we read in the newspaper, that in outside India, they can operate their accounts in Indian money, rupee.
That is, see, it was always there.
Now it has been given in UAE or somewhere.
It was always there. In select countries it is there.
Yeah.
See, what is to overcome this exchange risk.
Yeah.
Settlements are increasingly being promoted in the respective currencies.
Yeah.
What otherwise happens is, suppose I will give a simple example. If you are traveling in Europe, you will need euros. So you don't get euros easily.
Yeah.
So you have to purchase dollars. Dollars get converted to euros. And so you pay a lot of conversion cost. So what is being proposed is bilaterally you settle in the same currency. So that is what is being proposed. And that we are pursuing for quite a few years now. Already, see, Rupee card in a way is also be internationalizing the Indian rupee. It is in France has accepted, UAE has done, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka has done. Other countries, the target is complete Middle East, UK and Europe and America.
So the present RBI governor, I think he is from the Indian Civil Service.
Yes. He was Secretary Revenue in the Ministry of Finance. And for some time, he also was the Secretary of Department of Financial Services when he was on the board of the RBI.
usually is it a practice that it is not mandatory that it should be from the civil service? Even other economic experts also become the.
Yes, yes.
So will this create any such a good change or a?
No. See, for every central bank in the world has to work in tandem with the government. Now, if the head of the central bank also understands the compulsion of the government,
Yeah.
it's always better. For example, we have a string of governors who came from finance ministry. To my knowledge, Dr. Reddy, for example, Dr. Bimal Jalan, for example.
Bimal Jalan was.
Then Subbarao came from finance ministry. Even Shaktikant Das, he was from finance ministry. So it's a trend that has been going on for years and it has worked well. See, we can always say Dr. Reddy, they've all handled the situations well. In fact, during Shaktikant Das time, Reserve Bank was rated best in 1 year, and in the second year, it was recognized for best risk management practices. So, being a person from civil service, there's nothing bad or good about it. How a person takes up. And generally, people coming from finance ministry, they have a better understanding of the situation and they have been responding well. He should also have difficulty in handling.
Looking from the present scenario, what is your expectations regarding the Indian economy? How are we going to, what would be our situational stage in another 10 to 20 years?
No. One thing is certain. Today we are the fifth largest economy. In another few years, I'm not saying it will be 2 years or 3 years. In few years, it could be 2 or 3 or it could be 4 or 5. We should be the third largest economy in the world. That is a certainty. There is no doubt about it. The other countries who are ahead of us are marginally ahead. So we should be overtaking them anytime soon. And we would be a big manufacturing hub also. See, long back when there was a debate of fourth industrial revolution was underway, the government of India made it clear, we are not going to imitate the West. We will also produce substantially in our country and ensure everybody gets an employment opportunities in the process. That's what is our requirement. So, and we will be a major manufacturing hub and we will have the advantages and it will work in our favor. And see, fortunately, if you see any sector today, we are creating a situation where we are advancing. 5G has come out already. ISRO is daily, every month achieving some new targets in space. I don't know whether you read a detailed report on the India Mobility Show, which was held in Delhi. It was one of the largest in the world. So, and then simultaneously, there was an agroeconomist conference, international conference also a few days back. So, on every front, modernization, upgradation in technology, adoption on technology, things are moving. So, India has a bright future. There is no doubt about it. What is going to happen now also is that this realization has come amongst the states also. So now there will be more competition amongst the states, and in the process the general public will benefit. That is what is the purpose. We will do it that way.
Sir, in Kerala there is a perception that our major chunk of people are expatriates, either in Middle East, most of them, and some others are there in the America, Australia and all. See, they have a lot of money and they deposit in the banks. And this amount, there is a very good amount, and this amount, it is not being utilized on a proper way. There is some criticism like that. How far is it true, sir?
I will not know about, in detail I will not know. But see, it is not this their money or anything.
Yeah.
See, they invest in bank and the investment, it comes in the normal financial system. Now it is the government which spends the money from their resources.
Yeah.
At times they borrow for certain institutions. Now if that borrowing is more for consumption or revenue purposes as against for creation of new assets or upgradation, then this is not a desirable trend. That is the what has happened is about 10 years back, the government borrowings at the center, 70% was for revenue expenses and 30% was only for capital expenditure. Today it is substantially reversed the other way. The central government's borrowing is mainly being used for creation of assets. Now that gets read by others and then they say more money. So it is, the bank's money doesn't get invested in this value. It is the government.
Government has to do that, utilize it. Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaskar. Namaste.